not yet Britain, but Albion, was in a manner desert and inhospitable, kept only by a remnant of giants, whose excessive force and tyranny had consumed the rest. Hello, my name is Daniel, and I am G.A. Stewart's AI assistant. In this episode, we are going to take a look at Great Britain and the next ruling dynasty. In the history of Britain, John Milton was referring to the twisted myths around the founding of Great Britain. Aeneas was the son of a Trojan prince. When Troy fell to the Greeks, Aeneas fled with the survivors and finally settled in Italy. He is considered the founder of the Roman Empire. Romulus and Remus were both descendants of Aeneas. Brutus was the great-grandson of Aeneas, and after he was exiled from Rome, he eventually meets with Coronneus, another survivor of Troy, who fled with Antenor. Together with their people, they sail from France to the island of Albion, which is inhabited by a remnant of the giants. The armies of Brutus and Coronneus killed most of the giants, and the leader, Gog-Magog, was thrown off a cliff by Coronneus. Brutus renamed Albion Britain after himself and founded New Troy, known today as London. Coronneus and his followers settled in Cornwall. The giants of Great Britain were born from 33 evil daughters who murdered their husbands and who were sent into exile. Albion was named after Alba, the eldest daughter. The giants Gog and Magog are the guardians of the city of London, the world's banking capital. Every November, their effigies are carried through the streets in the Lord Mayor's show. The legendary King Arthur was believed by some to be a descendant of Coronneus, and this brings us to Glastonbury Tor. Glastonbury Tor is the mythical location of Avalon, the fabled island in the legend of King Arthur. Legends also claim that Glastonbury Abbey was founded by Joseph of Arimathea in the 1st century. Joseph of Arimathea is described in the 4 Gospels. We saw these two myths symbolically brought together throughout the 2012 London Summer Olympic ceremonies. On February 6, 2012, Queen Elizabeth II celebrated her Diamond Jubilee, the 60th year of her reign. 2012 was also the 311th anniversary of the Hanoverian secession and German rule over Great Britain.
7 times will the British nation change, steeped in blood in 290 years, free not at all through Germanic patronage, war in doubt, his lance in Ukraine and southern Poland.
The English Parliament passed the Act of Settlement in 1701. This banned all Catholics and anyone who married a Catholic from sitting on the throne. William of Orange's ascension to the English throne in 1689 connects Britain to the House of Orange-Nassau and its German lineage. 290 years from 1701 is 1991, when Great Britain joined George H.W. Bush's New World Order for the Desert Storm invasion of Iraq. The last line reflects the current war in Ukraine. Quatrain 3-57 is part of a very important triplicate series about that war. Quatrain 10-100 is the very last prophecy in Nostradamus' centuries.
The great empire will be through England, the all-powerful one for more than 300 years. Great forces to pass by sea and land. The Portuguese will not be content.
Quatrain 10-100 is the very last prophecy in Nostradamus' centuries. It squarely describes England as the world power for more than 3 centuries. The last line sets the time span. During the Iberian Union, Portugal's alliance with England was suspended, but ended in 1640. That takes the time frame to World War II, and possibly to today and the war in Ukraine. With Quatrain 3-57 describing 290 years of Germanic rule in England, and then Quatrain 10-100 describing England ruling the world for over 300 years, we see a consistent history presented by Nostradamus. In 2025, we come to the end of all things and a new dynasty. King Charles III is not a Windsor. The House of Windsor is a fiction. In 1917, to disguise their German roots, King George V changed the British royal family's name from Saxe-Coburg and Gotha to Windsor. On March 30th, 2023, King Charles III gave a provocative and bellicose speech before the Bundestag in Berlin. This is Germany's lower house of parliament, and he received a 2-minute standing ovation. Great Britain is driving the support for Ukraine's war with Russia, and King Charles III acknowledged Germany's support in the war effort. King Charles III was the first British monarch in history to address the German parliament. Both the House of Windsor and the House of Orange-Nassau publicly disavowed the extended family connections to the Nazis during World War II. But Prince Bernhard was a Reiter SS member before the invasion of the Netherlands. After his family fled to London, he did fight against the Nazis as a pilot and aviator. But after the war, when he sat on the board of KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, there were rumors that he had Nazis flown to South America. Fascism is the signature of Nostradamus's pagan sect of New Infidels. Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and husband to Queen Elizabeth II, said in 1988, "In the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus to contribute something to solving overpopulation." So much for his concern for the Queen's subjects in Great Britain. Viewers should note the repeating theme of eugenics from the Nazis to Prince Philip of Edinburgh. We see this same theme repeated by the World Economic Forum and its former director, Klaus Schwab. The Queens of Belgium and the Netherlands attend these meetings. In G.A. Stewart's work, it is the Queen of Belgium who is associated with Nostradamus's physician of the Great Disease. Bill Gates sells compassionate eugenics. 7 U.S. service members who attended the World Military Games in Wuhan, China, started exhibiting COVID-19-like symptoms starting on October 18, 2019. Coincidentally, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise, on October 18, 2019. As G.A. Stewart asked in the introductory episode, why would Lord Jacob Rothschild have his picture taken with blood artist Marina Abramovich in front of a painting called Satan Summoning His Legions? Why do the global elite use the social engineers to send we the people secret subliminal messages regarding torture, horrible deaths, and Satan? The 2012 London Summer Olympics sent all kinds of symbolic messages in the opening and closing ceremonies. Viewers should keep in mind from the introductory episodes the importance that pageantry and ritual play into Hermeticism. Therefore, we are seeing Masonic belief systems at work. What the intent of this embedded symbolism might be, viewers will have to work out for themselves. But Iran officially protested that the 2012 London Olympic logo was just the jumbled letters spelling Zion. King Charles III is related to Vlad III, also known as Vlad the Impaler and Vlad Dracula. He has become a national hero in Romania. After the coronation of King Charles III, Charles had a creepy portrait painted in shades of red. Placing a mirror portrait side by side portrays a goat's head. Clearly, this is a message and not an accident. Whether viewers are believers or critics of this material, the reality is the dark symbolism in these grotesque rituals conducted by the global elite. Why the redundancy on blood, death, and Satan? Nostradamus identified Great Britain as the ruling kingdom of this age. He also identified who will rule the next age. Many so-called Nostradamus experts have discounted the Vincent de Sèvres 1605 edition, which is the first edition to publish the 6 Ains and extra Nostradamus quatrains. One of these extra quatrains was 10-101. G.A. Stewart has discovered one connection that validates every prophecy in this edition. Nostradamus's second daughter Anne was married to Pierre de Sèvres of Beaucaire, and whose brother, Vincent de Sèvres, would go on to print the first and best Nostradamus compendium in 1605.
When the fork will be supported by 2 stakes, with 6 half-bodies and 6 open scissors, the very powerful Lord, heir of the toads, then subjugating all beneath the universe himself.
Quatrain 10-101 is a dated prophecy. Following the rules for the 1600 series of dated prophecies, adding the year 405 CE to 1660 provides the year 2065. This is how long it will take to rebuild civilization after nuclear war. Nostradamus's 27-year War of the Antichrist began in 2011, and it will last until 2038. It will take Nostradamus's hero, Henri V, another 27 years to rebalance the spiritual energy. Viewers should pay attention to how that math perfectly works out. Here is where we delve into the mythological. The toad was part of the Merovingian king's coat of arms until it was transformed into the fleur-de-lis. After the Battle of Tolbiac on Christmas Day in 508, Clovis I united all the Franks and converted to Christianity. As the myth goes, an angel descended from heaven and gave him the fleur-de-lis as his new coat of arms. It would be part of the coat of arms for all the kings of France from that point onward. From the fleur-de-lis to calling his future hero Henri V and the most Christian king of the world, Nostradamus maintains the same narrative throughout his prophecies.
Selin monarch. Italy peaceful. Realms united through the Christian king of the world. Dying, he will want to lie in the soil of Blois in France, after chasing the pirates from the waves.
After chasing the pirates from the waves is a reference to Henri V's future fight against the marauding Chinese navy and its ghost fleet of privateers.
The old paths will be embellished, one will pass, summoned to enter Memphis, the great Mercury of Hercules' fleur-de-lis, drawing up, the land, sea, and country tremble.
In Nostradamus quatrain 10-79, Nostradamus mentions the great Mercury of Hercules' fleur-de-lis.
By the 5th and a great Hercules, coming to the temple, opening the hand of war. The CIA recoils, the sword, key eagle, never was there so great a sting.
In Nostradamus quatrain 10-27, Nostradamus mentions by the 5th and a great Hercules.
By water and by steel, and through great illness, the purveyor at risk of his life will know the 100-weight of wood. In 2020 or 2024, they will engrave of one a great 5th prince, the immortal name, on the foot of the cross.
In 1638, Nostradamus mentions of a great 5th prince will they engrave the immortal name on the foot of the cross.
Hercules, king of Rome and America, of Triple Gaul, surname Guyon. Italy trembles and the waves around Venice, the first monarch renowned above all.
In quatrain 9-33, in quatrain 4-27, and in quatrain 6-41, we have the anagram of Danemark or de Anemark. G.A. Stewart has solved this as of America. Quatrain 9-33 associates this prophecy with Hercules, king of Rome, and thus Henri V will come from America. Here is where we see another connection between the prophecies of Nostradamus and of Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce's forerunner of Jesus Christ was to be a man named John Peniel, who would come from America. According to Edgar Cayce, what is to come is related to events in Egypt and Libya almost 12,000 years ago.
Who shall proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord in him that has been born in the earth in America? Those from that land where there has been the regeneration, not only of the body but the mind and the spirit of men, they shall come and declare that John Peniel is giving to the world the new order of things.
As the French Revolution began on the night of June 22nd, 1791, King Louis XVI of France and Marie Antoinette escaped their imprisonment in the Tuileries, where Napoleon would soon make his mark in history, and so they fled by carriage toward exile. On the ride to Varennes, they were stopped, recognized, and soon captured. On January 21st, 1793, King Louis XVI of France was beheaded on the guillotine. On October 16th, 1793, Queen Marie Antoinette shared the same fate. The Dauphin of France was the title of the heir to the throne. Tortured and abused, Louis XVII is generally believed to have died in captivity on June 8, 1795. There have been over 2 centuries of rumors that the 10-year-old Prince Royal, Louis Charles, did not die and was in fact smuggled out of France. Nostradamus clearly indicates that this happened.
Issued from the true branch of the fleur-de-lis, the heir placed and lodged in Tuscany in Italy. His ancient blood woven by lengthy hands, Florence blooms with his coat of arms.
Was the 10-year-old Dauphin spirited to Italy and Florence? Catherine de' Medici, the wife and queen to King Henri II of France, was from Florence. Did her family rescue the Dauphin? Did the Dauphin find refuge in Italy, and then eventually his descendants immigrated to America?
The royal blood will be very mixed, control of France through America. One will wait until his term has expired, and when the memory of his voice has perished.
Quatrains 5-39, 5-40, and 5-41 form a triplicate series that seems to describe the Dauphin's escape from France to Italy and then his family's historical immigration to America.
Born under the shadows and dark day, he will reign and be a good sovereign. He will cause his blood to be reborn from the ancient urn, renewing a cycle of gold for brass.
Would the age of brass be related to the brass casings of bullets? Renewing a golden age follows the narrative of the Henri V prophecies.
One who is to be a forerunner of that influence in the earth known as the Christ consciousness, the coming of that force or power into the earth that has been spoken of through the ages.
Nostradamus refers to the great monarch. This follows predictions about the coming of the great Catholic monarch. The prophecy of the last Roman emperor, the last world emperor, and the emperor of the last days comes from a 7th century Syriac text called the Apocalypse of Pseudo-Methodius. It was once thought to be a work of one of the fathers of the Church.
In those days, when his forerunner may come into the earth for preparing the place for the Son of Man, that his kingdom may be established in the earth, wilt thou be ready?
G.A. Stewart has come to the conclusion that the prophecy of the last Catholic king who reigns during the end times is one of the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse. He suspects that this is the king on the white horse. According to Edgar Casey, this person will cleanse the earth in preparation for the return of Jesus Christ. Interestingly enough, it seems that many Protestant biblical interpreters and authors see the prophecies of the last Catholic king or the last Holy Roman Emperor as the coming of the Antichrist. The most frequent repeating Nostradamus character is Henry Selin, also called Henry V, the most Christian king. The second most frequent repeating Nostradamus character is the Black King. During a near-death experience undergoing emergency surgery, 4-year-old Colton Burpo claimed that he met Jesus Christ. His story was turned into the book and movie Heaven is for Real. Later on, he identified 8-year-old Akiane Kramerik's painting of Jesus Christ as the person he met. These paintings of religious icons done by 8-year-old Akiane Kramerik speak to a higher power. When G.A. Stewart became aware of her work, he recognized that Akiane's painting of Jesus Christ matched Edgar Casey's description.
The master's hair is most red, inclined to be curly in portions, yet not feminine or weak. Strong, with heavy piercing eyes that are blue or steel gray. His weight would be at least 170 pounds. Long tapering fingers, nails well kept. Long nail, though, on the left little finger. Merry, even in the hour of trial. Joke, even in the moment of betrayal.
Akiane Kramerik's painting fits Edgar Cayce's description perfectly. The master's hair is most red, inclined to be curly in portions, with heavy, piercing eyes that are blue or steel gray. From Revelation Book 19, verses 11 through 15, readers are given a description of the king on the white horse.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew, but he himself.
In Norse mythology, the Einherjar were an army prepared by Odin for the final battles of Ragnarok, which translates as the final fate of the gods. They were the honored dead who had fallen in battle and were chosen to train and feast in Odin's Valhalla, the Hall of the Fallen.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
In the Hindu text, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 2, there is a prophecy of a world-conquering king riding a white horse. Lord Kalki, the Lord of the universe, will mount his swift white horse Devadatta and, sword in hand, travel over the earth, exhibiting his 8 mystic opulences and 8 special qualities of Godhead, displaying his unequaled effulgence and riding with great speed. He will kill by the millions those thieves who have dared dress as kings.
And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the wine and press of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God.
Chief of the world, the great Henry will be, plus ultra. After, loved, feared, dreaded, his fame and praise will go beyond the heavens. He will be satisfied with the sole title of victor.
Plus ultra is the Latin phrase meaning further beyond. Non plus ultra was inscribed on the Pillars of Hercules, marking the end of the known world. In Quatrain 6-70, Nostradamus calls Henry Sellin chief of the world. Plus ultra means he will go beyond any world conqueror in history. In Quatrain 4-77, he calls Henry Sellin the Christian king of the world.
Without foot nor hand through sharp tooth and fierce, by the global fort of the port, and the elder heir, near the entrance disloyalty delivered, Henry Sellin shining, the little great one driven.
Nostradamus gives readers a clue that Henry Sellin is connected to the military and is involved in an attack on a military base near a port. Henry Sellin, Hercules king of Rome and America, the great Mercury of Hercules Fleur-de-Lis, the fifth, and a great Hercules, the heir without end, the elder heir, the herald of peace and last heir. These are the names that Nostradamus uses in numerous prophecies to identify his future hero.
The frizzy beard and black king through ingenuity, subjugating the people cruel and proud. The great Henry rescues from far away all the captives through Sellin's banner.
The Black King is Barack Obama. After U.S. military disasters in the war with Iran, G.A. Stewart believes that Nostradamus predicted that Donald J. Trump will be ousted in a coup d'etat. This will ignite the Second American Civil War and will then lead to the imprisonment of thousands of Americans. Henry Sellin will be the leader of the opposition. In Quatrain 10-79, he gathers up an army and enters Memphis. In 1647, we see that when the Black King signs the false peace treaty, that the Second American Civil War will begin in earnest.
The Great One of Hungary, he will go to the Vatican. The new heir will make a new war with his neighbor whom he will hold besieged. And for the Black King, water comes with his highness. Not suffering through too much pressure, for 3 years he will keep his people arrayed.
The new heir will make war with his neighbor. That is civil war. The great Hungarian leader is Viktor Orbán, who goes to the Vatican to help negotiate the peace between NATO and Russia. The Vatican already wants to host ceasefire negotiations between Russia and Ukraine.
Through life and death, the realm of Hungary changed. The law will be more harsh than service, the great city of howling complaints and crying, Castor and Pollux enemies in the arena.
The war in Hungary is the focal point of many of Nostradamus's warnings regarding World War III. Castor and Pollux were the mythical twin brothers. In Nostradamus's epistle to Henry, those two brothers of Aquilon, who are not yet brothers, are America and Russia.
The realm left to two, very few will hold. 3 years and 7 months passes, they will make war. The two Vestals rebel in opposition. Victor the eldest born in the land of America.
The two Vestals rebel in opposition are Barack Obama and Henry VI. The victor is Nostradamus's eldest heir, who was actually born in America. On May 23, 2025, Russia announced that it would invade northern Ukraine to create a buffer zone with Russia after Ukraine's Kursk invasion. Trump hopium is evaporating quickly. Israel is about to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. All of this follows G.A. Stewart's work to the letter. The internet prophets will claim they saw it all. But who are you going to call when it all goes down?